Hey, this is Roger, the developer of Ramen Engine. I'm using a Windows game mode recorder to make this, so I apologize if it's a little bit choppy. Um, Also, it's my first time making a video like this, so I'm doing my best to keep talking and get the point across as quickly as possible. But anyway, let's get into it. So I'm working on this little clone of the original Legend of Zelda. Um, just kind of the same game engine, but with new different like story and characters and things like that. But the gameplay is planned to be roughly the same. Um, anyway, one of the things I wanted to show you guys was this GUI system I added over the weekend. It's based on a concept for game development I call workspaces, where you're constantly generating GUIs. This is a very basic implementation of that, where you can generate labels and object buttons. That's it. I whipped this together like 4 or 5 hours yesterday, including debugging and various stuffs, tweaks and things. And basically, with a very tiny amount of code, you can create these interfaces that should help you during development, so that you don't have to remember everything about your code base in order to issue certain commands and phrases. Because the way it actually works is the buttons are actually code. So if I click them, what's actually happening is it's calling these two words plunk and bouncer with a star. And you can see that clicking these creates these happy little bouncing guys. And the two words are basically just forth code that I could type in my REPL here. I do the same thing. But it's nice that I don't have to remember both of these things if I come back to this project in a few days. I don't have to think about it, or I can learn something and kind of refresh my memory. So that's a big part. That's a big rationale and point behind this. To explain it, the code that's on here, plunk is a word that sets the position of the next created object at the player's position, and star bouncer is short for create bouncer, and it's just a normal function. And the way that works is not within the scope of this video, but yeah, the engine's coming along pretty well. It's got depth sorting, as you can see. You can walk in front of these guys and behind them. Let's see. Okay, so one of the great features of this is that it's totally interactive, and I just made a couple changes to this GUI in a text file, and I'm about to load that up so that you can see how easy it is to add stuff. I can't unfortunately switch to the other window to show you the code behind, well, I guess you could call it more of a script behind this GUI, but I just added a couple words that should be useful during development for basically resetting the game. And in Ramen, there's two reset words that are related to your game, cold and warm. Cold is executed at the start of the runtime. We'll do stuff like load your data, stuff you only want to do once. And warm basically resets the game. So if I were to click cold here, there was like a very, very tiny pause while it reloaded the data. So this is not much, it's just one ping file and a master map file. But if I click warm here, it takes me to the very beginning and deletes everything from the game world. And I can basically start over my test session this way. Similar button here is 00 warp, which just takes me to the first screen here. And I plan on adding more fun warp buttons as locations are added to the game, and they'll have names. It'll be really cool. Like the fairy fountain will probably be like fountain lock warp or something like that. These words up here are very interesting in that they add kind of a Unity-like functionality in a very simple way. So upd here will load the test script in order to update any and all objects behavior while the game is running. So I can't show you exactly what I'm about to do here, but I'm going to, it's paused while I switch to another window. I'm going to go into the main character's script very quickly and change his speed from 1.5 to 2.5. Save that, go back to the window, click update, little pause, and if I move the character now, he will go faster than before, and lo and behold, he does. And I can do this for these bouncy guys too. The way that works is a little bit different because they're not interactable with the, the player doesn't directly control them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change their speed so they bounce faster. Code. Twice as fast. Save that. Update. And I click this to restart all of the scripts on the stage. And there they go. And they're in sync now because they were restarted at the same time. But what this button does is put the stage on the stack and call this word I created for development called starts, which calls the start action on all of the objects on the stage. And it's not grammatical or anything. This is just a regular function that I've called starts. And I wish I could just show you the code for that here easily, but I think it's good that we're forced to keep it simple here. So the GUI can be toggled with the tilde key. That's pretty cool. And I just wanted to kind of go over its relationship to the IDE. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to tab it on, and I'm going to full screen. Oh, that didn't work. The video recorder stopped as soon as I full screened. But I'm just going to tell you what happens. It goes into a kind of split screen where the GUI has the entire right side of the screen reserved for it, and the left side of the screen is reserved for the IDE. And the IDE is very simple REPL with an output, and you can, I don't normally type in all caps, but it happened to be on. Thankfully it doesn't matter and so forth, and I prefer case non-sensitivity anyway. So we just kind of did a little dump of memory. And you can see that it just displays underneath the GUI, but that's no problem because we can just toggle it off. We can also toggle the REPL itself so you can see the game better and control it. See that it's still pretty visible, but not too intrusive. And if you want to get rid of what's on the screen, you can just type wipe here. And I could easily turn that into a button, so it's a little more convenient. In fact, why don't I just go ahead and do that now? So put that stuff back on. Go into my script, and I guess I'll add it. Where should I add it? I think at the bottom, so I'll make a new. Okay. There you go. So now I can just click a button to make that happen. It took me 2 seconds. I could actually have done it from the prompt. We can add another one. Another word I wanted to show off was RLD, which is short for reload. And say I wanted to change this so that we add another button /s, which would clear the stack. So I'm going to add that. What I can do is I can hit the key, F5 key, I don't have to type it out, and it should reload the script I just loaded. And lo and behold, it does. So now I can have a bunch of garbage on the stack that I've done through, various experiments, and I can just click this /s, it goes away, and it's very nice and clean. So what else did I have? I've gone through everything. So yeah, I hope you liked this. Follow me if you're interested in what I'm doing. I'm creating a game engine in Forth that's just plain old standard Forth, plus a bunch of my own extensions. And stay tuned for more. as development continues. Thanks a lot. See you soon.